It'd be a different kind of channel at that point.
Yeah. What's up, gang? I think we're live. I meant to do the countdown, but I forgot. So we're just gonna go ahead and go live. If you want, we can spend the next 30 seconds watching Josh eat a banana, which I think everybody would very much appreciate.
Who doesn't want to watch that?
I mean, there's an Instagram account, guys eating bananas. So there's definitely a market for it.
That was a message my dad gave me really early in life: was never look another man in the eye while you're eating a banana. So
that's good advice. That's good advice. When my friend's dad dropped him off at college, he was like, "All right, man, use a condom." That was his advice. So
pretty much all you need to know.
I mean, it's smart stuff.
You're gonna get through just fine.
Anyways, we're not going live to do our comedy hour. That's in a different market. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So yeah, we'll go live today. We'll go through every game. Since we have such a massive slate today, I figured if there's a game where neither of us have a pick, we'll just go ahead and breeze by it to not even waste time on it. Starting with probably the worst game. Not actually. There's a lot of bad games today, but Cowboys, Panthers. And let me real quick. The spreadsheet, the first comment that I put, this is where we're going to put all our official bets. So if it's not on the sheet, that means we're not betting it. But if it's on the sheet, that means we are betting it. So anyways, you have anything in this one?
I sprinkled on Fergie Ferg for a touchdown. He's got to freaking do it at some point. So I took Jake Ferguson. I got it plus 300. Since it is still early out here for me, I didn't have a chance to look up if that number is still good, but I'd play that down to like 220. To be honest, for Jake Ferguson on the touchdown. Let's keep it really simple, man. I mean, he's healthier, and I think he's healthy, and that's really what I care about. I mean, Cooper Rush doesn't use his tight ends nearly as much as Dak Prescott. That's for sure, but he doesn't use anybody nearly as much as Dak Prescott because he doesn't complete as many balls as Dak Prescott. So if he is going to complete some balls, I've been over CeeDee Lamb as anybody that you want to like target. I know he had a good game last week. I'm not saying he's ever going to be a bad play, but I just don't know what type of effort I'm going to get or what the team's looking like. And Fergie Ferg's second year still has plenty to prove. He's gotten the targets when he's healthy, at least 9 in all the games that I would call him not hampered by an injury in the last like 5 games. So yeah, I'll just go for him with the sprinkle. I just put a half a unit on plus 300.
I like it. Yeah, it's 295 now. So you're basically getting the same price.
Cool.
I didn't bet this game. I spent all week debating whether I wanted to take Chubby Hubby or Rico Dowdle rushing yards. I ended up just staying away on both. Like both of them have been like the thing with Hubbard is there's nobody else like Jonathan Brooks. There you go. I was going to say Stewart, even though I knew that wasn't right.
I was going to say Isaac.
Yeah. Jay Brooks is out, and so it's basically literally just Chubby Hubby, like no Miles Sanders anymore. But both have been riding too close to the sun. I decided I have some ones down that I like. I held off. Here's a game where I do have a bet, and it's kind of funny. The market has shifted in my favor, but the weather has made me a little more nervous. It's Jameis Winston passing attempts. If you look, he's been throwing the ball a ton. It's like the only game. So anyway, sorry, I got over 34.5 at minus 115. You can get that at minus 125 now if you use Hard Rock. You can get it over 35.5 at minus 115. I would still take that. And I also put a half unit on him 40 plus as well, which looks like you can get at 220 or 200.
Nice. Can I jump in and just say this is about to be super efficient because I like him over 239.5 yards, which is probably not there. But let me just tie in your answer to mine, and we can just use it as one answer because I'm sure it's a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So if we want to go to the yards, 224.5, 233.5.
Oh, wow. It went down.
It's because the weather. It's the weather's disgusting. It's like wind between 15 up to 30, on and off rain. So like I didn't know what the weather was like because I bet this one early, but he's just been throwing the ball a ton. Like he's made 6 starts this year for the Browns. In 5 of those 6 starts, if you take out the one snow game, which like maybe is comparable because of what the weather is like in this one, but let's just take that out for the sake of argument. His passing attempts in those 5 games, 41, 46, 46, 58, 41. Like he's hit 40 in all 5, which is the latter part of this, the plus 200 odds part of this. He's hit 45 in 3 of those 5 starts. And like this matchup is perfect for him to pass the ball a ton, not necessarily successfully. I mean, like 300 or 233 is a low number. So I'm not saying I don't like yours, but you cannot run on the Chiefs. They're allowing the 3rd fewest rushing yards per game, 2nd lowest yards per carry. Or no, wait, sorry. The Browns cannot run the ball. The Browns are averaging the 3rd fewest rushing yards per game.
Right. I thought you were talking about the Chiefs defense anyway, so it still sounded good. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, the Chiefs defense also you can't run on. The numbers are just a little different. And Fantasy Pros or Fantasy Points gives the Browns the third worst rush grade in the NFL. The Chiefs allow the second lowest yards per carry, third lowest rushing yards per game. And they've been good since week 8. Since week 8, third fewest rushing yards per game, second lowest yards per carry, fifth fewest yards after contact per attempt, second lowest yards before contact per attempt. And I love looking at both of those. So basically, to sum up what we're saying here, you can't run on the Chiefs. You can pass on them. The Browns can't run the ball. And Jameis Winston has been throwing the ball a ton since he's been in the lineup. But the only thing that scares me off of this one at this moment in time is just the weather. It's just the weather. If the weather was normal, this would be a smash play. I know people in my Discord that are like a little bit nervous about it and are thinking of cashing out. That's fine. Like, I wouldn't blame you. I'm not going to cash out because I'm not going to give out a bet and then be like, actually, just kidding. But the weather does make this a concern, but I still think he's going to throw the ball a ton. So I'm still going to ride with it. But again, I wouldn't blame people if they're a little bit scared off.
Well, what you got to tell the people, man, is the horses are ready for battle. They've been prepped with snowshoes. I mean, we've seen it happen, so they're good to go. I think the only thing that scares me about the attempts and the reason that I went for the yards is because I still think that he'll be able to. I'm basically trying to replicate the snow game from against Pittsburgh that they had. And looking at that nastiness. So it's going to be a lot of the same. I think what it comes down to is if you want to win this football game at all, you have to throw the ball because you cannot run it. They already couldn't run it. And that's why I was like, when you were meant to be talking about the Browns' horrible offensive rush attack, you actually made it sound like it was the Chiefs' really good rush defense. And they both sound like bottom 3 versus top 3, right? A bottom 3 run game versus a top 3 run defense. That's kind of what we're looking at here. So there's just not going to be any availability for that. But I am on Isaiah Pacheco anytime touchdown. What a great call from David H.
There you go, David H.
That's also my man David, who's producing my live show these days, our live show, I'll call it, because he does a wonderful job. But some great insights there, too. I like the Pacheco tutty. I just think the usage is going to keep going up, and we're not going to get plus money for an Isaiah Pacheco touchdown by the time we get to like week 17 is kind of where I'm at now. You've seen the rushing increase for him. I don't know if anybody thought that Kareem Hunt was like going to be the mainstay, but that's just wrong. I mean, he's done great for them, but the whole point was they just picked somebody up off the couch that could already run the offense. They have Isaiah Pacheco for a reason. They're going to play him. He went from 30% or 26% to 38% to 50% in terms of the opportunity share last week was up to 58% now. So while the snap share hasn't quite been there and he's still not really going to be out there to catch very many balls, he is going to be out there to get the workload. They need to get him prepped and ready for stuff. So someone asked me if they would start Pat Mahomes or I forget what the other was Matt Stafford or Pat Mahomes. I said I would consider Stafford, which now looks terrible, but I'm still staying away from Mahomes. I don't think he's going to need the attempts today to really get them there, and they'll be able to run the ball all right.
I like it. Yeah, and they were always going to slow roll him coming back from that injury. Like, they're looking for the playoffs, so they don't really, and not our fantasy playoffs, unfortunately. Yeah. All right. Next up, Dolphins, Texans. I got nothing in this one. Total pass.
I don't mind. People are afraid of the Dolphins, but I got Tariq on an anytime touchdown at plus 140 as I bring my banana back into the shot. But let me finish my point so I can eat this banana. The thing for me with Hill is just going to be obviously wide receivers against the Texans. That was where I started. He's still getting the looks. He's now back up to about 4 in his last 5. That's another guy that I'm just like, maybe it's just preconceived notions that I'm like, wait, I'm getting plus 140 for a touchdown from Tyreek Hill. That the other thing here is like he could the big play rate for him against this Houston team. That is what they give up to wide receivers as well, is the explosive play rate. I mean, there is not a more explosive wide receiver. So yeah, I like this for sure. This is where I'm at. David, get out of my head. But you're talking about the same stats that I'm using, man. So I appreciate the support because yeah, this is where I'm at with him. I like Devon Achane and the receiving a lot more than anything else in this one. I had considered him about 88.5 rush and receive, but I ended up playing the 31.5 receiving. I think that's at like 34.5 now. I would take that up to about 34.5. That's about where I would limit myself to taking that. That is one that I checked on this morning because I did hit it and wanted to know where my CLV was at. So I like that bet a lot for him.
I like it. Yeah. This is like a gambler's brain, but I've taken 2 running back receiving props against the Texans. Neither of them had hit. So I just told myself I'm never doing that again.
It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, Shire is out, by the way. I'll just mention that obviously he's killing quarterbacks. He's out. He's an assassin right now. So he's not allowed to play.
Yeah, the murderer.
Yeah, so that's a big reason why I like them to continue to be able to receive out of the backfield. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I had nothing for this one. Real quick, we can go through the next game. This is I'm kind of going back on what I already said, but I didn't actually bet this game. We're talking about Jets, Jags. But I honestly think you could hit one of or both of Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson receiving props. The Wilson one's gone down. It was like 60 in the the low 60s. Now it's down to 57.5. Adams has stayed about the same. These are the only two guys that Aaron Rodgers throws to, and the Jags have one of the if not the worst passing defense. Like they're literally in 32 according to DVOA, 32nd meaning last, and they play man coverage at among the highest rate in the NFL. I think it's like third or second highest. The thing with that is like that number, the third highest is like still in the 30, 40 percentile. So it's not the majority of the time, but both Adams and Garrett Wilson have good numbers against man coverage, and they're the only people that he throws to. And Wilson had like a 3-game stretch where he did nothing, but the targets were still there, but he kind of broke out of that last week. But yeah, I didn't bet it, but the look would be one of, if not both of, Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson receiving yards.
Yeah, I'm not even going to pretend like I spent more than 7 seconds on this game before I was like, God, no, get away from me.
All right, let's move on. This is another one of those games where it's just like, what's the point? Commander Saints, anything here?
I have the grossest of all the bets, and I don't think it's around anymore, but I took Alvin Kamara under 105.5 rush and receive combined. I don't know what that's at because people were complaining in the comments of the video, and it's like, I understand that NFL lines move, y'all. I can only do so much to give you a bet. I try to give the playable 2 number as well so that you know already if something goes down. And I said for Alvin Kamara in the video that I'd be going up down to about under 100.5. So I didn't really want it after that. And it looks like
97.5.
Yeah, 97.5. It's getting kind of close. I mean, I'm still not that scared of it, man. I don't know why I wouldn't really take it there, but there's no other weapons. Kendre Miller is going to be getting a little bit more time. He's up to about 30% of the snaps. He had 10 carries after he didn't play 5 games. So I think he's pretty much good to go. It's not like he wasn't playing because he was hurt. He was suspended. Kamara didn't practice a bit this week. So he's still a little bit down. I don't know why you could take him out there when you don't need anything. Washington, not that bad. Tied for the fewest receptions allowed to running backs in the league. Not the best rush defense, as we know, but it's been a bit better. And I just think this number is not taking into account that Kamara's not going to have the snaps he's had this season. Like this 105.5 number is his averages for the season. So what are we doing here? Like this, we think this is going to be the same level of involvement in this offense in a game that I think they're going to get smashed. Then there's no point to it. Like, I don't know the name of the starting quarterback. I thought it was going to be the Rattler up until like a couple of days ago. I forget the dude's name who's being mocked online right now for his sort of effeminate photos that he was taking during photo shoot day. They're kind of funny. I bet he's a hilarious dude. But anyway, I do think that this offense is going to be putrid. We saw him get 17 for 44 for 2.5 yards per carry versus the Giants. Like this Washington team's better. So I'm gonna take him to go under in this one.
Yeah, I like it. If not that I hate your analysis. If it were me, I would just isolate his rushing because the receiving makes me nervous if he just gets peppered with targets.
Fair.
But like you said, the Commanders don't really give up a lot of receiving work to the running backs. I think that's fine. Someone in the comments, our boy David H, mentioned Robinson. I think.
Oh, I have him too.
Yeah, so I guess
take a bite of my banana, but I have him for a touchdown. Please keep going.
No, you're good. Please, banana content is what the people want. Yeah, I mean, I'm not touching a minus 135, minus 140 anytime touchdown prop. I actually like his rushing yards. It's one of those things where like part of my, let's call it weakness as a gambler is I always try to look for like the ceiling outcome. So whenever I go to Brian Robinson, like he's going to get between 70 and 90 rushing yards, but he's never going to get higher than that because they try to limit his carries to like right around the 15 mark. But over 74.5, I think is a smash against the Saints. This isn't one that I sent out to my Dub Club or lock in or anything. I still might. But the Saints run defense is pathetic, and you can rely on like consistent work for Brian Robinson. He doesn't have the ceiling potential because he's not going to break off a 70-yard run. He's not going to get 25 plus carries like a Kyron Williams, but he's going to get 15 to 20, and he's going to get what's blocked for him. And what's blocked for him against the Saints should be a lot. They allow the highest yards per carry, literally number one. They have the second lowest stuff rate, and they allow the second highest adjusted yards before contact per attempt, which is basically just saying like offensive lines can get push against this Saints defense. And the Commanders, like their offense isn't what it was at the beginning of the year. Like that's just Cliff Kingsbury for you. But they're still going to give him consistent work. And they did seem to kind of break out of that after 2 weeks ago, the game before their bye week when they put up like a 50 burger against the Titans. Yeah. Like that was kind of, they're like, okay, this slump's over. So I think the rushing yards for Brian Robinson's a good look. 74.5 at -110 at Bet365, I think is solid. Again, I haven't actually sent this out on my Dub Club. I absolutely think it's a worthy bet. I just like have so many plays already out that I get nervous, like just at the raw unit size. But if I was just isolating, or not unit size, the raw number of units risked. But if I was just isolating this play, I would say it's a good one.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. And also just a really good pause moment for something about unit size. That was really good. Either way, yeah, I'm with you. I took this at -125 and was just like, well, maybe we just add this to the TD round robin type of thing. But I think I'm so confident in him getting in that I was good with it. This is one of the few plays, obviously outside of a running back, would never really recommend a minus number on a touchdown. But either way, yeah, no, I'm with you on the yards too. So no qualms with that explanation.
I like it. Cool. All right. Next game, Ravens Giants. Bet Derrick Henry rushing yards or don't bet anything is my thought.
Well said.
All right. We can move on. I didn't, and to be clear, I didn't bet that. So
no, I bet nothing. Tommy Cullins is in.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, no, let's move on. Another game I didn't bet, Bengals Titans. Do you have anything on this one?
Bengals Titans, I would consider Tony P for the tutty. I didn't bet it, but that would just be the one shout out. If it's still plus money for it, then I would grab it. I think it was down to like even money. So it was Tony,
like plus one, move back up. Sorry to interrupt you. Plus 120.
No, good. Please do. It's back up to plus 120. Wow. Yeah. Then I would take that. Yeah. Honestly, no problems with that. Like this, I'm not really worried about anything on the other side of the ball either, in terms of their ability to limit the run. So like, that's really what it comes down to is this is a horrible run defense that I tried to support last week and think might do a little bit better than it did. Still got carved the hell up. Still as bad as we thought they were. So I'll just take him for the touchdown. He keeps getting fed, even with Tajay Spears out there a couple for at least a couple possessions over the last couple of weeks. Doesn't seem like he's getting the usage anymore. So that's the only play for me for this one.
I like it. Yeah, I just the Bengals, their defense is so bad, but then it's like, do you really trust Will Levis to make the Bengals offense have to do anything? So yeah, the Pollard I don't hate because he gets so much work. Patriots-Cardinals.
Sorry, I will say Carlos brought this one up. I'm sorry to interrupt again, but Carlos,
go ahead.
Chase Brown, I this should be every week. I think anything under 30 yards should be hit for this man. So yeah, I agree with Carlos. I didn't go back to it this week. I was an idiot not to play it last week. And he went off obviously in the pass game. I still think he's just going to be a massive part of that pass game. And I do think you're going to see a little bit more difficulty for Burrow to pass the ball against this Tennessee pass defense. So this is where I'd be going with the pass rush for Tennessee as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's one of those ones where like he's hit it so frequently that I never want to take it on the game where he doesn't, and then he just keeps hitting it. So I just keep not betting it. You want to know? You know what I mean?
I know. One of those when you get to the roulette wheel, you just stay on black. Don't worry about it. Stay the course. Yeah.
Exactly. For this one goes in the category of like if this was a primetime game, like I didn't have 5 units risked, I would take Trey McBride over 6.5 receptions.
Yeah.
This also does admittedly go a little bit against my philosophy because he's cashed this now in 3 games.
Yeah.
But like last week, he had 7 receptions on 14 targets, which right off the bat, 14 targets, you like that. And he literally had 0 receptions at halftime. He had all 7 in the second half, which is crazy. His last 3 games, 15-12, 14 targets, going up against a bad Patriots passing defense, and specifically a bad Patriots defense that will give up work to the slot position. They allow the 6th highest target rate specifically to the slot receiver, McBride. He is their slot receiver. Like he's their tight end, but he is their slot receiver. He runs the most routes by far on the team in the slot. Good targets per out run, good yards per out run number. You're getting a good number like plus 120 on 7 receptions, I think is good. The only real concern here is that if the Patriots offense can't keep up, the Cardinals offense is more than happy to just feed James Conner. But like, you want to know why everybody's so mad at Marvin Harrison Jr.? It's because Trey McBride's getting all the targets. Like his target rate is absolutely insane. It's up there with like alpha receiver numbers. I don't love yards for him because he gets these like stupid Bobo 5 yards down the field targets. Like he's not really a big play guy, and he has this crazy streak of not having a receiving touchdown. I'm sure you're aware of this, but like he's like going to set a record for most receptions without a receiving touchdown. Like Deontay Johnson had that a couple of years ago. Now like McBride's on pace to either break it or get close. But he is plus 170 if you think this is the time he breaks out. But yeah, I love the receptions angle for him.
Well, he's not going to break that record, Matt. He is going to get a touchdown in this game.
Okay.
So me and who I think me and Matt, I'm going to call you Matty Chalk because I like Matty Chalk. It's a really good name. Me and Matthew Chalk, now known as Matty Chalk to me, we like Trey McBride for the tutty. Can you still get that plus 185, or is that gone as well?
170 at FanDuel.
Okay. All right. That's the floor. That's fine. He does have a touchdown this year. He just fell on it in the end zone. So
no, he has one. He has that, and then he has a receiver, a rushing touchdown. He scored on an end around. So he
rushing on the end around. Yeah, exactly.
And he recovered a fumble. It's crazy.
Right. I was watching the fumble, like, oh shit, do I get that for the Trey McBride tutty? I think I got it like plus 280 that game. But yeah, I think this is it, man. Like this when, if not now, when, if not him, then who? I gotta take Trey McBride here. There's nothing else you need to say other than all the stuff you talked about. He is a target monster. He hogs them. Yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. probably is not as good as we thought he was just yet, but also it's tough to get in there when you're just peppering Trey McBride with anywhere from 10 to 14 targets, essentially. So it's got to happen. It has to happen. They can move the ball against this team. I'll probably just keep hitting it if it's anywhere close to 2-1 for the rest of the season, out of spite at this point, to be honest.
Fair. Just to answer, not football specific, but 1 unit equals 1% of your bankroll. So if you have $1,000 bankroll, 1 unit for you is going to be $10. But anybody out there, if you're like, we always say like talking unit sizes because it just makes it uniform across people that bet $10 unit, or like me, I have a $100 unit size. But yeah, that's how the math works.
And I just want to add one thing, because people are also asking like about bankroll size. It's a very personal question for how big your bankroll should be. But I would just say, if you can't afford to lose the money that you're going to bet, then don't bet it. This shouldn't be your like daily money and allowance. This should be considered an investment. So I just want to put that out there for the bankroll as well. Yeah,
it should go in your fund, not your I need this to pay my rent fund. Like my philosophy is like if you're nervous about it from a money perspective, then you're betting too much.
Yep, well said.
All right, so Colts-Broncos, I got nothing in this one. Windy, 2 offenses I don't know what to do with. I got nothing.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to – I did take Cortland Sutton on the tutty as well. Plus 125 is what I got that for Cortland Sutton. Or no, plus 165. That's 138. Okay, so it's dropped actually. It was fluctuating a bit too. But if you're plus 138, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm still good with that. That's on Bet365. You can still get plus 130 on DraftKings. I'm good with all of that. I do like him to continue to get in. I know it's going to be kind of weird and nasty, but I do think that you're going to get a really good matchup for him is really what I'm looking at there. And I consider Josh Downs for over 4.5 receptions. I do feel like AR prefers Michael Pittman, but I don't know how he's going to get him the ball this game. So that would be where I'd look. But I didn't end up hitting that. That was just a potential flyer if you're interested in Josh Downs.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Finally, I have a lot in these afternoon games. So cool. Just the 1 p.m. is not a lot. So Bills Lions. I have 3 in this one, so I'm going to go quick. Number 1, Josh Allen rushing yards. I got it at even better. I actually got it at 39.5 at minus 110. You can maybe this is whatever. It doesn't matter. 38.5 at minus 110 is 100% a play. 100%. It's a small sample size, but if you look at quarterbacks against the Lions that are like actually rushing quarterbacks, and they've only played 3 this year that have a rushing line over under that was 30 or higher. All 3 of them hit their rushing prop. Caleb Williams, 39 rushing yards, over under was 33.5. Anthony Richardson, 61 rushing yards, over under a 43.5. Kyler Murray, 45 rushing yards, over under 34.5. They've given up the 7th most rushing yards per game to quarterbacks, but that since week 2, that doesn't really tell the whole story because it depends on the matchup. Like they played Matthew Stafford in week 1, who has, I think, 1 scramble on the entire year. But if you look at quarterbacks that are actually running quarterbacks, as I just detailed, they have success against the Lions. And their defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, he refuses to spy. Like he refuses to have a spy. So he'll let themselves get beat by running quarterbacks. And I'm just going to go through them real quick. So, and then you can go what you have after. After that, I have 2 receiving props. 1, David Montgomery. I got it at 12.5, which was an insane number. It's right now best offered at 17.5. I would still take it. That's still an insane number. I feel like the books are just not catching up on how involved in the receiving game David Montgomery is, because you think of Jahmyr Gibbs as the receiving back, but Montgomery had hit at least a 12.5 line 6 straight games, which again, normally I get scared off of that. But the thing is, like, if the books just have something priced incorrectly, then it doesn't matter how often they've hit it. Like I always think about that.
Right.
Like if they priced Giannis points at 20 and a half,
yes,
you're going to hit that every single time. You know what I mean? Like it's just a mispriced line, which I think this one is with David Montgomery. He's hit it 6 straight. He's hit 10 of 13. He's averaging 23.8 receiving yards per game. And like I got the 12 and a half, 11 full yards below his average. And even at 17 and a half, 6 yards below his average. And yeah, I get it. A lot of these times his receiving props or his catches are dump offs, screens, whatever. That still counts the same as a receiving yard. And if your first rebuttal is, okay, this is probably a tough matchup, it's the best matchup in the NFL for running back receiving props. The Bills have allowed the highest target share go to the running back. Or sorry, they've allowed the highest share of targets go to the running back of any team in the NFL. And I even looked into this because I was like, okay, maybe this is inflated by Devon Achane. Because if you look 2 games against the Dolphins, Devon Achane was targeted a ton, had 7 and 8 receptions. So all right, I said, what do the numbers look like if you just take those 2 games out? So I'm taking out 2 games that will only help our argument. The Bills are still number 1 in target share allowed to the running back. And that's like with taking out 2 games that only make our number better. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And yeah, I mean, tipping wheelchairs, I don't think that's a good activity you should engage in, but it's a funny name. He's getting more scripted screenplays, and the books just aren't catching up. So I love his receiving yards prop. I think it's awesome. The last one, and I'm sorry for rambling here.
You're good. I agree with everything you're saying.
Khalil Shakir.
That's where I'm at too. Yep.
Okay, you're on that too? Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I took 60 plus. I think I got it at plus 105. It's now plus 102. I would still take it there. This is just because he gets consistent targets for the Bills, and the Bills are going to have to pass against this Lions defense. Lions are allowing the 2nd most receiving yards per game to wide receivers, on the 2nd most receptions. And Shakir, like it's Russian roulette with like 5 bullets between Amari Cooper and Coleman and Mac Hollins and Curtis Samuel and Dalton Kincaid, whatever. The only one that consistently gets targets game over game is Khalil Shakir. He's hit 60 plus yards in 6 of his last 10 games, has had at least 7 targets in 7 straight games. He's got the highest route percentage, like the highest percent of routes that he has run, the highest on the Bills. And he leads the team in both yards per route run and targets per route run. So like even guys that have missed, and I should take this comment away, even guys that have, thank you. Even guys that have missed games due to injury, we're just looking at like their yards and targets per route run. Khalil Shakir is still number 1. And that's with like being the most consistently available. He leads the Bills in design targets, like screens, short yardage stuff. All that stuff goes to him. And like, I don't think he has the ceiling, which is why I just took the 60 plus and I didn't do any ladders. But I mean, 60 plus for him, I thought was an absolute smash. I mean, there's a lot that I liked in this game. So if this is one of those like 10-3 defensive struggles, I'm going to be very upset. But yeah, that's where I went.
Yeah. We're taking the day off if that happens. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
What's so crazy though, is that with all of what you just said, I love Shakir. I think Josh Allen probably tries to do it all himself again. So yeah, love all the Josh Allen stuff. And I'm taking an under on DeAndre Swift rushing. Like all that said, I do think we'll see points in this game. Maybe not as many as we saw last week.
Wait, sorry, what running? You said DeAndre Swift.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
That is not what I meant. No, that is not my bet for this game. Excuse me. No, I'm not taking a running back in this game. I'm taking Amon-Ra St. Brown. I got into it in the comments talking about the Bears game for a minute, and now I'm just my bad. I'm taking Amon-Ra in this game. Spoiler alert, I'm taking DeAndre Swift unders in the upcoming Bears game that we'll talk about. But either way, that is a different look. I was also thinking about him against the Bears or against the Lions not that long ago, where it was like, this is part of the reason for the under. But for Amon-Ra, let me get him 68.5 receiving yards. Can I still get it?
69.5 now. That's very nice.
Even
close enough.
Better. Yeah, that is nice. That's wicked nice. Let's take the over on that. I still think 69.5 is fine. Obviously, I took it at 68.5, so I'm totally with it. But I think what we're talking about, like, I don't know if the Bills are going to go any man in this game. My bad for the thumbs up. I don't know if the Bills are going to play much man, but if they play any man, they're screwed. And they do like to play a decent amount of at least like cover 2 man when they can. But even if it's not and it's a soft zone, I'm great with that for Amon-Ra as well. I don't know that how much how much success Taron Johnson is going to have against Amon-Ra. He just got cooked by Cooper Kupp as well. So if we see him at against zone, he's still at about a 72% target rate, or excuse me, a 37% target rate. When they're playing against this type of soft zone as well. So I think it's similar enough to man that this is a tough matchup for anybody trying to guard Amon-Ra is really it. So I think in this situation, you're going to get the points from Josh Allen. That's going to force obviously the passing. I don't know how much success the Bills are going to have on the ground, as we mentioned. So I do think they're going to have to continue to pass the ball, keep keeping the pace of play very high is really what I'm looking at here for both of these teams as well, and why we saw 80-something points in the game last week for the Bills. So yeah, I'm good with this. They're giving up a ton of first downs off the passing. I liked that as well because Amon-Ra is just a third down machine at this point out of the slot. So I love that look. I think the receptions are like 6.5, getting a little bit high. Not terrified of them, but I do think the yards are fine because it's a potential ladder situation too if this game turns into the shootout that we think it will be.
Yeah, same thing like last week. Yeah, he could go off for 100. All right, so is that the only? It was Amon-Ra, right? And then you also had Shakir.
Yeah. And then Shakir,
okay.
Yep, as well on the yards.
Yeah,
yep, you got him 60 plus. I took him 54.5, so I'm still good with 60 plus. Yeah.
Okay. Dope. All right. Next game, another good one. Bucs-Chargers.
Yeah.
So I really like Rachaad White receptions in this one, but they don't have him out yet because Bucky Irving. So that one is nothing right now. The one play I did bet, and I do have a ladder play on, is my boy Ladd McConkey. I took him. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up. Let's see, 80 plus and 100 plus. That's right. I took Ladd McConkey 80 plus and 100 plus receiving yards. 80 plus is a full unit. You can get at plus 120. 100 plus 250. That's a half unit. He missed last week, but he should play today. I'm not really worried about that. And he was on fire prior to that injury. And I do think like getting the week off helped him. I mean, he was like knee injury, shoulder injury. I mean, head, shoulders, knees, and toes was like the injury report for my sweet lad. But he'd been on fire, like NBA Jam rules prior to that. Like he had hit the 80 plus yard number in 3 straight games, 100 plus in 2 of those 3 games. Did that on 6, 9, very nice, and 12 targets, catching 6, 6, and 9, very nice. Catching 6, 6, and 9 of those targets, receptions. Workload increased. Has a good matchup against the Bucs team that is like similar to the Lions with a good run defense, bad pass defense. Bucs have allowed the 4th most passing yards per game on the season, the most passing yards per game since week 4. And like, I mean, they've been in and out, like secondary in and out of injuries the whole season, but they're just not a good passing defense, like 21st according to DVOA. And this is a good to go even deeper than that. A good matchup. So the Bucs play zone at the highest rate in the NFL. They're the only team that plays zone over 80% of the time. So 8 out of 10 plays are running zone. On the Chargers, Ladd has run the most routes against zone coverage, has the highest separation score, the second highest both yards and targets per route run. He's only behind Will Dissly. Will Dissly's out for this game. So of the players playing, he's number 1. And he's got the second highest win rate as well. So all of his numbers look good against zone. He's a go-to target for Justin Herbert. And with all the running back injuries, they already can't run the ball anymore. Like they were the most run-heavy team in the NFL, I think the first 4 or 5 weeks. That number's dropped over 10% since then because they can't run the ball anymore. Now Dobbins is hurt and whatever. So, yeah, Ladd McConkey, 80 plus, 100 plus receiving yards. That's where I went in this one.
He's so good.
He's awesome. Yeah, I love Ladd.
He's turning into a really freaking good wide receiver.
Yeah.
No, I have nothing for this game, but I like the Ladd stuff. That's maybe the only place I would go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if Rachaad White plays, I like his receptions, but they don't currently have any odds out. All right.
Yeah. The Chargers should win this game, right?
They should, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. How come I can't come back? I'm just gonna thumbs up everything you say. I agree with, if you can't tell, because I'm thumbs upping it. So
are you just frozen like that? Or?
Yeah, it just froze me. I tried to stop the camera and come back, and it didn't work. Do you want me to come back real quick?
You could leave and come back. Yeah,
right, I'm gonna come back.
Or he just really likes everything that I'm saying. It's the only other explanation. All right. Let's see if that works. I should have brought a water bottle, but I don't have one. Oh, sorry. That was my fault.
8. No worries.
I forgot that you can also add yourself. So you added, and then I clicked remove. But anyway.
No, all good. Yeah, I got the power, baby. Yeah, no, I got nothing for this game. I hate to be that guy, but I just want to make clear, like, because someone was giving some false information in the chat. So, like, it's your unit size is not what you feel comfortable betting. Please don't just say like, oh, I have $1,000. Let me bet $100 at a time. That is 10 bets to make. You need to give yourself more leeway than 10 bets to make. You're not going to win often enough that you are just going to be able to hit all these things. If you bet $100, you're going to be out of your money before you have the opportunity to make your money. So please don't just bet as much as you feel comfortable. Bet as much as your bankroll allows. So once you dictate that, you take 1 to 2% of your bankroll, and that should be how much each bet is. If you have more confidence, fine, play the $20, not the $10, but 2% of your bankroll should still be the max bet that you're putting down. So I just want to make sure we're not getting false info in the chat. That's all.
Yeah, that's helpful. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but no, I have not. We're on Pittsburgh. Good. Did you give anything out in this one yet?
Not yet. I give me all the narrative. Give me the squeaky wheel. AJ Brown receiving yards. Yeah. I got over 77.5 at -110. I'd still take 79.5, so which is basically 80 plus at -112. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why I like this one, and not even talking about the squeaky wheel treatment. Like, let's just ignore that for now because that's narrative based. You don't always know everything about that. Receivers in general are very hit or miss. Like, just look at Justin Jefferson's game log. It's a lot of good. It's a couple bad. And I think that the thing with AJ Brown is it's just gotten like magnified because of the Eagles collapsed last year. So everybody's like just waiting for that to happen again this year. His post-game comments where he was like passing, that's what's wrong. Yeah. So like, there's just an absolute firestorm coming out of Philly. But if you just kind of like take a step back and look at the entire season that he's played 9 games. He hit this over 77.5, 79.5, whatever. In the first 5 games he played. Now, he missed a month due to a hammy injury, but the first 5 games that AJ Brown played football, he hit this over. Since then, he's only done it in 1 of 4. You look at any receiver in the NFL, they're going to have 4-game sample sizes where they only go over whatever their prop is in 1 game. Jamar Chase, the first 2 games of the year, he didn't do anything. He's number 1 receiver in the NFL. Like Nico Collins coming back had some quiet games. Like, that's just the nature of wide receivers. But if you take a step back, he's averaging 88.9 receiving yards per game. That's 4th most in the NFL. His yards per route run, 3rd best in the NFL. And he's got the 2nd highest first read target rate. So everything, like his numbers, there's nothing else saying that he's like one of the best receivers in the NFL. And the matchup against the Steelers should be pretty good. Like, they are not going to let the Eagles beat them on the ground. And I get that, like we said that about the Ravens, and they were able to do that against the Ravens. Just because that happened doesn't make me think that every single game Saquon's just going to have 150 rushing yards. Like the Steelers, they pack the box. They play single man coverage on the outside. AJ Brown annihilates man coverage. If you go to like PFF, which I get isn't perfect, he has like a 99 percentile matchup advantage over the top 3 cornerbacks that the Steelers play: Joey Porter Jr., Dante Jackson, and whoever's in the slot, which is I forget his name, but that's per PFF. So I didn't want to ladder AJ Brown up to 100 because like the Eagles passing game has been broken like 100%. So if it just looks gross again, his ceiling won't be there. And maybe the floor is as low as it's been the last couple of weeks. So I just took the main line over 77 and 79.5, whatever. You can call me Homer, call me whatever you want, but like he's at least going to have 10 targets. And if you're telling me he's going to get 10 targets, a big play guy like him, I'll take my chances that he gets 80 yards out of that.
Yep. Totally. The highlight film for AJ Brown will probably be like to the tune of like Me and My Best Friend, like that kind of song, because everyone is talking about him and Jalen Hurts, and they tried to squash it a couple of days ago, and we're holding hands and singing Kumbaya around the campfire together. So I think if anything other than AJ Brown getting 10 targets in this game is just going to lead to more Philadelphia media and national media being like, oh, well, these guys are bad at each other and whatever, right? So I think that's a good look here. I don't have anything. I actually really like the Scotty Miller look that was brought our way.
I did see someone comment about that.
Yeah. I forgot who gave the Scott. It was Derek. Yeah. Derek came in with the Scotty Miller look. I think that's a really good call. He did get the targets last week too, for this squad. And at the same time, I forget who it was. I think Derek also brought Mike Williams. Are you a Steelers fan, Derek? I'm starting to get a little bit of a vibe here. But either way, I think both those dudes are pretty low, and I do think they'll have a decent amount of success or at least have to have a decent amount of success moving the ball through the air as well. I mean, yeah, I thought Chuba Hubbard was going to get locked up last week. He didn't, but I'm not ready to just say that this Eagles defensive rush defense is not as good as we thought it was. I still think it is very much so. And this is a game that they are not going to. I mean, last week was a trap game. It was the definition of a trap game.
100%.
You're playing your rival 4 hours away in the following week, a game that you actually might lose. You're going to overlook the Panthers. So they're going to be bringing it in this one for sure. But I like some of the low wide receiver numbers for the others besides George Pickens in this one that we're talking about. But that's all I got. Yeah, nothing else for this game.
I like it. And just to go back to this, if you're relying on your sports betting profits to pay your phone bill, that is the perfect definition of someone that's spending too much money or relying too much on sports betting. So that's it. So thank you for actually helping me prove my point by this comment.
Yeah.
No disrespect to you. I just think that we're coming at it from different ways. And I think me and Josh both want to preach responsible betting, responsible unit sizing, and relying on money from making sports betting to pay your phone bill is not responsible sports betting.
That's going to be when you call the hotline. And the other thing is like, this is not something I'm trying to do for the next couple of weeks to have some fun and then like maybe take a break. Like I do this every day. And if I'm betting $100, I don't know, 20%, 50% of my bankroll on one bet, I'm not going to live long, man. There's too much variance in this thing. We're not magic 8 balls with the answer to every single thing of how it's going to go. We do the research to get the best odds we can and we go forward, but we don't always win. So that's just what it is.
Yeah, you have 2 bad days in a row, then you're guess what? I don't have money to sports bet anymore. That's like, and trust me, if you're betting the NBA this year, you will have 2 bad days in a row. I promise you.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
All right. Sunday Night Football. Packers Seahawks. You have anything in this one?
I took JSN over 64.5 receiving yards. I think you're going to see Alexander on the on DK. I'm not sure JSN's not a better wide receiver than DK Metcalf at this point, to be honest. But the passing of the torch from Tyler Lockett to JSN is what has clearly been officially passed. And it was passed when DK Metcalf was out. So it was like a little bit sort of like layer. It was veiled, right? It was like kind of covered up that like clearly now JSN is wide receiver 2 because it happened during times where DK wasn't even available. So it kind of seemed like Tyler might still be involved in the offense. He's not anymore. He is officially wide receiver 3B. Like there's really no other dudes getting the ball besides him, JSN. Noah Fant was a look that I saw as well against this Packers defense, which would be an okay look for a tight end. But I just like the slot. I like JSN to have to go up against not Jair Alexander. And that's the last dude that I have that much respect for in the backfield for the Packers. I think their defense is very, very good. We know it. It's like in the top 10 EPA per play. There's no shit that I want to talk on it. But I think JSN's looking at another 9 to 10 targets, and that's what we've seen since he's gotten healthy. And this is where he has the best coverage matchup grade, according to Fantasy Points as well. That was the starting point for me going, okay, this is going to be where you beat the Packers, is in the slot, a bottom 15 team anyway in the league, defending that position and that sort of alignment, right, for the wide receiver. So that's who I'm targeting in this one. And that's really all I got. I don't really like any of the rushing stuff for the Seahawks. And I would consider Josh Jacobs, but other than that, like I know I'm just throwing out names now. So JSN's the bet for me, though.
I like it. And my dear friend Mayweather, I'm getting nasty. Jaden Reed. I am climbing the ladder all the way up to heaven with Jaden Reed, or I might fall off and go to hell if it
beautiful psycho.
If it doesn't go well. Here's when I'm playing Jaden Reed, and I sent this one I did send out to Duck Clips. So I am on this. I'm going 50 plus receiving yards for a unit, and then I'm scaling that bad boy up to 60 plus for a half unit. So 50 plus is plus 146. That's actually. Okay, so that's the exact number that I got. And then I got 60 plus at plus 230. That actually went up a little bit. And then I went 70 plus for a quarter unit at 360. And then I went all the way up to 100, for 0.1 units. I literally put $10 on him to get to 100 receiving yards. This one, like, take a shot of Pepto, say a prayer, do whatever you got to do. Because this is my favorite type of gross bet. He's coming off last week, full goose, 0 for 0 on zeros across the board. I think he had 1 target. The 3 games prior to that, similarly bad, 23, 26, 24 receiving yards. You want to know what he did the game before that? He had 100 yards. The game before that, 55. The game before that, in the 20s. 4 separate times this year, Jaden Reed has hit 100 plus receiving yards. And like 6 times this year, he's had 20 or in the 20s or fewer. Granted, some of those were Malik Willis games, which like you can't really put that much into. These are my favorite types like kind of what I said about AJ Brown. You go through any wide receiver's game log, they're going to be inconsistent. And a big play guy like Jaden Reed, he's going to be Djax level inconsistent. But I really like it.
What a random callback for an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, come on. Deshaun Jackson. There's other examples that I just not coming to mind. He's the first one, of course.
He might be my least favorite Eagle of all time. The worst day of my life was the punt return touchdown. But let's please move past it.
Miracle at the Meadowlands, Part 2.
Worst day of my life.
That's the worst day of your life. You've had a pretty good life, I'll tell you that.
I know it hasn't been bad after that fight surgery, so I'm doing okay.
But he goes up against the Seahawks defense that bleeds production to the slot receiver. Even though they have a good slot cornerback, like Devon Witherspoon will spend time in the slot, they gave up the third highest target share specifically to the slot receiver. And like going through their game logs, they've gotten pretty decently smoked by slot wide receivers. Like I mentioned, Trey McBride, he had 7 receptions against them all in the second half. And I get that he's a tight end, but as I mentioned, he's the slot guy. And then like you go back in the past. Let me hold on. I forgot to write this down. I'm looking this up. Like Michael Wilson hit his receiving prop against the Seahawks also in that same game as Trey McBride. Devontae Adams had a decent game. Michael Wilson again. Juwan Jennings, Cooper Kupp, who runs all of his stuff out of the slot. Khalil Shakir had 107 yards. He had 107 receiving yards against them. He runs 75% of his snaps out of the slot. Darius Slayton had a big game against them. Not that he's more of an outside guy, but they'll sometimes move him around.
Yeah.
And like Jameson Williams had a good game against them. So like they can give it up to the slot receiver. And their running defense has been much better recently. Like there was a stretch where they were just a god awful run defense. They either changed up their lineup or they got someone back from injury, but they've been much better recently. So I'm not really scared off I know Josh Jacobs has been phenomenal, mostly from a touchdowns perspective. His yards has been like pretty good, mild, like whatever. I just like this as like it's wide receivers in the NFL, and for Jaden Reed, he's either getting 50 or he's getting or he's either getting 20 or he's getting 100. There's not a lot of times where he has in between. So, so that's why I did ladder him. This one, like you're gonna watch Sunday Night Football, and he's gonna go the first quarter without a target, and you're gonna want to vomit all over yourself, and then he'll have a 70-yard play that like in first play of the second quarter. Like that's just kind of what it is with him. Christian Watson had a big game last week. He never does it 2 games in a row. Yeah. Romeo Doubs is back in the lineup, which I think honestly helps Jaden Reed because Reed doesn't play in 2 receiver sets. He only plays in 3 receiver sets, and he plays in the slot, which is why I like this one in the first place. So full ladder climb on Jaden Reed, which I get is incredibly gross and disgusting. But yeah, that's where I went. 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, and then 100 for literally $10 on the 100.
Love it. No, I'll just add that last week was not a good matchup. For him. He was talking a lot of trash because he had a big game against the Lions in the first game of the season. And then, it didn't even make sense then, to be honest, because the types of wide receivers who are normally beating that team down the field are not the short, fast guys in the middle of the field. It's a lot more fly routes and guys like Christian Watson catching slants across the middle and going from the outside. I took Christian Watson last game and stayed away from Jaden Reed as a result. So I think this is the opposite of that. Now we come back to a situation that's just better. And people get frustrated with the Packers wide receivers because, Jordan Love passes to everybody. He hits like 9 different dudes in one game. And I get that, but there is some stuff that we can project to tell us who is going to do well for his receivers. And this would be the better matchup for the slot guy, for Jaden Reed, for sure. Also like Tucker Kraft for that reason as well. Saw someone talk about him, and I think he's another potential. I think those are the 2 best options for receiving for this game for the Packers.
Yeah, I like it. You help make my point for me. Yeah, it's going to feel gross, which so I don't understand people that are like, yeah, I'm out. I totally get that. But listen, sometimes the nasty bets are the way to go when you're betting the NFL. So cool. All right, that's every game for today. I know you said you had some stuff for Monday Night Football, but normally we just do Sunday today. If you want to shout out stuff Monday Night Football, go ahead.
Yeah. The Chicago game you're saying? Sorry, just the Bears game. Yeah, just DeAndre Swift if you guys are interested, because I won't be on here tomorrow. Who do you have tomorrow? Ahan?
He can't make it tomorrow, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, cool. No, he had a great day in the NBA yesterday. He was making some really good points, and I loved his stuff. But anyway, shout out Ahan for whatever reason. Much love. The DeAndre Swift bet, I actually love this bet a lot. If it's still 52.5 yards, I think we can take this down to like 49.5 and go under that. He's still dealing with a groin and a quad, so it's not like he's just full health. Great. Roschon Johnson has a concussion as well. Not sure if he's going to go, but so we might see some DeAndre Swift out of necessity. But
Travis Homer.
What's that? Who we got?
Travis Homer. I think he's the next man up.
Is Travis? Oh man, a really sneaky good athlete, Travis Homer. Honestly, real gym rat, that guy. Let's look at the last three under Thomas Brown. What a name for a head coach, Thomas Brown. But like, how could you pick that name out of a lineup? The 12.7 carries that he's had in the last three under Brown. That is 4 fewer than he was leading up to that game in the prior 4 games. 35.5 yards per game on 2.8 yards per carry. Not that this line was ever awesome for the Bears, but it's been better than it's been better. It's bad now. It's a little bit banged up. That includes when he had 13 carries for 30 yards against Minnesota, this team that he's playing, for 2.3 yards per carry in that last 3 because they just played a couple games ago. And he's looking at, about a 56% snap rate when Roschon is in. His opportunity share is a little bit higher. But if we can get anybody in there besides DeAndre Swift, I don't even know that he'll be out there for that many. The Vikes are running a very slow pace, 4th slowest in the league. So a big reason why they don't give up too many yards in general, on top of the fact that they're usually winning and you need to run pass the ball against them, plus Brian Flores, and that rush defense has been filthy all season. So I just don't see a world in which they need to run him 14 times, and at 2.5 yards per carry, he needs to get a lot more than the rushes he's going to get to 53 yards. So that's just plain and simple. It's one of the best rush defenses and pass funnels for a reason, and they're going to be losing. The Bears are going to be losing in this game.
They will.
They're about to get the people's elbow to the face is what's coming from the Minnesota Vikings, is what I'm pretty sure.
I like it. I mean, while we're talking about it, even though people will get this tomorrow, and I'll probably post a video on Monday Night Football tonight. I took Aaron Jones rushing yards. They're going to be winning. They give Aaron Jones the ball. He's pretty efficient. Bears run defense is terrible. I also like Keenan Allen receiving yards as well. That's another play. Those are my 2 plays from Monday Night Football. I haven't looked at the other game. It's disgusting. It's Raiders with possibly Desmond Ridder or like a on one leg. Officer Farva from Super Troopers, who's the real name of that guy I forget.
Well, Farva.
I know Farva. I forget the actual quarterback's name.
Oh, it's Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, there you go.
The actor who played Farva.
I don't care about that guy.
I don't want a large Farva. I want a goddamn liter of cola.
Yeah. But Keenan Allen receiving yards and Aaron Jones rushing are the 2 plays I have for that. So, I'll post a video probably overnight tonight would be the guess. But cool. All right. Have you looked just curious, I have not. Have you looked into the NBA at all? Any insight you can add there?
I wish I had, because I knew it was coming. But no, I've got to look at it. I did not have a good day in the NBA yesterday. A little 2-5, probably. I don't even know if I forced some stuff. I think teams are just tight in the NBA Cup. So just keep that in mind for Tuesday, that teams might be coming out a little tight. And it's weird. There's nobody in the arena. So it's just dead silent. And you're just kind of like, is this a home game? Is this
COVID all over again?
Yeah, it's COVID all over again. It's weird. This Vegas thing's stupid. But anyway, the only things that I'll be looking at I'll be looking at everything today. I don't have enough to get at you, but there's gonna be a lot of injuries. That Mavs and Warriors game, I'm gonna be looking at backups, because it's like this weird, added game to the card, because they need to have everybody play 82 games. These 2 teams lost in the quarterfinals of the tournament of the Cup, so that's why they're playing today. So it's going to be kind of weird. I think we're going to see a lot of backups. I don't know that Steph is going to play. I'll be targeting like Buddy Hield and guys like that in this game, probably against the Mavs. So just keep it. That's the one thing that I do know for today already that I'll be looking at, is that game is not going to have everybody in it, in the Mavs and the Warriors, probably.
Okay, cool. And then I did want to. I only looked at one play, and it was Ja Morant PA against the Lakers.
Love Ja Morant right now.
I don't know if I'm going to bet it, because I looked into the matchup and it was not quite as juicy as I was expecting. But just curious. I just want to give shout out to the Hawk. Breece Hall. Any thoughts? I know he likes his rushing yards. I was
asking. I asked Craig on what he was looking at there.
It's his rushing. Yeah, he did. I know. I just know from talking to him separately that it's his rushing. Okay.
God, Craig, you're everywhere, man. I love it. For Breece, no, I don't really want to mess with anything for that team right now. Did you look at that at all?
I mean, no. If I'm touching the Jets, I'm touching not to sound awkward about it, but I'm playing Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson.
No, finish your sentence. If you're touching anybody, who are you touching? You're touching Devontae Adams.
I'm touching myself.
Yeah, no, I can't get next to it. I don't even know if Braylon Allen's gonna get any touch. Is he even like? I took one look at this game between the Jags and the Jets. I threw up green all over the place, and then I moved the fuck on.
Yeah, that's probably the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Nice active chat today, which is always fun. Josh and I are appreciative. We're on both our YouTube channels, so you know how to find us if you're on one of ours, go check out the other ones. We both kind of put out the same stuff. So between the two of us, hopefully we're helping you out.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably be back tomorrow. I know you'll also be back tomorrow.
Yep.
That,
you around for an NBA stream this week?
Yeah. I was thinking we could talk offline, but we could probably combine because you do one at 5:30. Right. I normally go at 5. We could probably split we could probably combine the two on Monday and or Thursday. But yeah, I
love that idea. Yeah, because Mondays and Thursdays get busy for me, man. So it'd be great to get you in there because we do both of basketball and football.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we'll work that out. Cool.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Well, yeah, everybody, thanks again for watching. Let's all bet responsibly and have a good one.